I'm Roy Potter, a former U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. Welcome to the Potter Expositor. Good morning, everyone. It's the 1st of June, 2018. I'm Roy Potter, and of course, this is the Potter Expositor. I want to welcome everybody as you come in. I know that was a long intro. I have to give a shout out this morning to Pam Jones. Now, I've never asked her to do any of these things. She's made a number of these YouTube plates that I use, like the one up in the upper left-hand corner there. That's kind of my flagship one. And then yesterday, she sent me several short video intros, one of which I just played. There's a longer one, of course, that's at the beginning. It's actually the intro to my channel now. I've decided to use it for that because it's about 2 minutes 50 seconds long, about 3 minutes long, a little long for an intro into a video. But for the channel, I thought it was pretty good. And then there's this shorter one, which I could probably use as an intro to a video, but it's still a little long too, but we'll see. I'm probably going to work on that and see how it works. But regardless, I didn't ask her to do that. She just did it out of the kindness of her heart, and I want to thank her for it and remind you that Pam Jones for Liberty, her website and her Twitter account are really centered around the chemtrail stratospheric aerosol injection problem that we have worldwide, along with the upcoming 5G and the Wi-Fi and how it makes you sick and what's involved in all that. She has a lot of good material there, so please go and look at her website and her Twitter if you have Twitter. So without long introduction there, I was just amazed at what she did. Like I said, I didn't have her put any of that in there. She just sent it to me and said, look, if you like any of these things, let me know. We can work on them, make them the way you like or whatever. So I'm just honored, and I'm very happy. Second thing is the apology for yesterday. As you can tell, I'm setting up my program to do a few more things, trying to follow the masterly instruction of Unirock, who put out some tutorial videos on how to do this. And of course, I've been very basic in my approach. Maybe a lot of people would prefer that. I see people, we don't need introductions, and I notice, hardly anybody uses them. But I think it adds kind of a little bit of information, a little bit of, if not professionalism, that could be debatable, I suppose. But, a little more interest, especially to new viewers. If you have new people that are coming in, especially that new little thing on my history there since 2009, I think tells the story. You have so many people, especially those who attack true patriots now. This is getting widespread where they attack true patriots under the guise of, we're deep staters or CIA agents or whatever. and yet the tactics that they're using are actually the tactics of the Saul Alinsky CIA, But regardless, you don't know their backgrounds. They won't tell you. They use fictitious names. A lot of good patriots do too, stage names, and there's nothing wrong with that. It depends on what your motivation is. But you'll notice also that they don't have their pictures, and yet they'll attack other people and accuse them of things that, first of all, they probably never do, and second of all, that describes them in no way, shape, or form. Because if you're in intelligence services or if you have any training in that, you know how to take. You could take the bio of Jesus Christ and twist it to make it sound like he was an evil guy. There are people that have done that. Anti-Christians have done that. And I could even do it to some extent, and I guess I have, on certain aspects of the New Testament, our current understanding of the New Testament persona of Jesus Christ. But regardless, it's the intent behind what you're doing, and it's easily seen. If they never produce evidence, if all they do is call you names, if they accuse you of things and have the type of evidence that they have to back it up is really spurious or twisted or out of context, or even if it's in context, if it's not complete, those things show you who the real people are, and you won't get that from a true patriot. You just won't. So at any rate, I think that the introduction kind of helps people to know who they're dealing with. There were informants, there were spies, there were undercover agents at Bundy Ranch, there were, but I wasn't one of them. And my entire history, I think, can show that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Bundy Ranch this morning, a little later, which is why I called this video, What Else is Sealed? I'm going to let you have some information that I've already tweeted to President Trump, and we'll get to that. As far as the video yesterday, again, I'm sorry what happened there. What I do is on these streaming programs, you can record at the same time, and I know that. But my CPU, the particular computer that I'm using, but even worse, my internet line just won't handle that much data, so I just can't do it. So I have to go ahead and broadcast the live stream, let it upload and process, and then about 3 hours later, it takes about that long before I can access it again and then download it and put it on my hard drive. So, it's not so much I can't do it because of my inability technically, it's because my technical equipment won't handle it. Okay, so at any rate, what happened yesterday was I did the live stream, and I don't know how many people saw it, maybe 1,000, I'm not sure. And then, I finished it, and then as usual, I wait. But that morning, of course, I put out the notification that I was going to have the live stream. And I thought when I looked at it, I thought, well, I'll go ahead and delete that. Now, this was really odd. I had been having problems with Twitter, with Periscope, and with YouTube that whole morning. I couldn't get a lot of things on Twitter to load. Periscope wouldn't broadcast. There were a lot of things going on there. Blank information on not on YouTube, but on Twitter and Periscope, which are kind of related, of course. And so there were a lot of technical problems right up front. And I thought, wow, this is really odd. Now, when I went into my Creator Studio and I went to my videos, it shows what I've uploaded, and I saw the short intro video to announce the live stream. And what you do is you click on that, put a check in the box, and then you go up to Actions and you go Delete. And then as a second check, it asks you to delete if you want to delete the video. Now, I'm one of those guys that I measure twice and cut once. Okay? If anything, I'm overcautious. If you know what that means. You measure twice and you cut once. I once had a friend who was building an apartment complex, and they had the center beam that goes down through, that holds up the rest of the place, the roof. And they measured it, and they started to cut it, and another friend of mine said, are you sure you want to do that? Let's measure it again and make sure. And the guy was so cocky, he said, no, it's fine, it'll work. Well, he cut it too short. So there was it must have been $1,000 plank at the time, maybe not quite that much, but it was a lot of money. It was a very big one, and they basically wasted it. So that was one of, and I worked as an electrician before with pipe, so I kind of knew, and wire, you can't stretch wire. People talk about stretching wire, you can't do it. So, you can cut it shorter, but you can't get it any longer. So the principle is you measure twice and you cut once. Well, that's what I thought I did yesterday. Now, I was dealing with a lot of new stuff, so I may have let something slip through, but I don't know. I'm saying it's user foul up this time, but I'm just saying that there were a lot of strange things going on yesterday morning. Let's check right here and see. I did turn the chat on, and as usual, I'm concerned about the sound. Measure twice and cuss once. Matt Cheney, that's true too, because there's Murphy's Law, and then I forget the name of the other one, but it's that Murphy was an optimist, So you're very right about that. You're just funny, weird things happen. They just do. Sound is great, wonderful. Okay, well, we'll proceed then. All right, I'm going to hit what I talked about yesterday. Now, I've talked to a couple of people who might know someone who recorded yesterday. There are some people that record my broadcasts and my regular recorded ones and put it on their channel or archive it or whatever they do. So I've put a request out that if anybody did record that yesterday, to put it on their channel. And by the way, all of my videos you can put on your channels. You don't need to ask my permission. Just go ahead and do it. I'm more concerned about the information getting out there than anything else. And it's not always important information, but it shows that we're active out here and we're trying to get things straight, right? So if you want to take one of these videos and download it to your channel or whatever, that's fine with me. I have no problem with that. As a matter of fact, I encourage it. The only thing that I would ask is that you don't slice it up and then try to make it say something it's not saying. And you know how that works. And people that do that, eventually I will go after them on that, because that's not right. Okay, that's just wrong. So if you're going to use a clip of the video, just make sure that you're not doing it in such a way that it changes the overall message of the video. I think that's what I'm saying. But you can use it in any way that you like, as long as you're not trying to deceive someone or to alter what I'm saying. So at any rate, if somebody did record that yesterday and they put it on their website, hopefully they'll let me know, and then I will download it and re-upload that entire thing. But what I am going to do is just touch the basics here this morning real fast, okay, to refresh that. I was talking about the situation, and I used some things on Twitter, which again was causing me trouble yesterday. We all should know by now that President Trump tweeted out, basically he was repeating what Joe DeGenova, former U.S. attorney, who was very supportive of President Trump, said, quote, "The recusal of Jeff Sessions was an unforced betrayal of the President of the United States." Joe DeGenova, former U.S. attorney. All this nonsense of trust Sessions and trust the government and trust Ray and all this is wrong. And so, I'm just going to say that and just let it go from there. But I think that pretty well shows it. And then we talked about the IC and that they keep using our own values against us. They talk like Maxine Waters, in the Congress. She'll talk about the Constitution, but they never really act according to it. They always circumvent it. They always disobey it. And we the people have allowed them to go there. Well, there's they say a former or ex-CIA agent. You never are a former or ex-CIA. You always are. As a matter of fact, normally you're still under oath for many years after you leave the CIA, if you ever get out at all. But there's one in Utah. His name is Evan McMullin. I brought him up. He ran for president to try to counter Bush, tried to fool all the people in Utah who can be fooled very easily. By the way, I'm from Wyoming, okay? Just so you know, all right? I'm in Utah a lot, however, because this is where the big city is, of course, for me to do my things and that type of stuff. But at any rate, let me read you what Evan McMullin said. And this goes along with Brennan and his accusations, his disrespect, his criminal assaults, as far as I'm concerned, seditious assaults on the President of the United States. And this is coming from the IC community that's supposed to protect us. Really? Well, let me read what Evan McMullin said. I'll let it speak for itself. This is This is what Donald Trump tweeted, okay? Donald Trump tweeted, "The Democrats are now alluding to the concept that having an informant placed in an opposing party's campaign is different than having a spy. As illegal as that may be, but what about an informant who has paid a fortune to," and then he goes on, and this is what Evan McMullin replies to say, this is to the president, "You are a Russian puppet and a national security threat. That's why the FBI investigates you and your campaign as it would any other." No, wait. I thought we were told that they weren't investigating Trump. See how they lie? See how they twist things? That's what these people do. This is the true attitude of the rogue elements in the CIA, the FBI, and the government in general. The State Department, the DOD, the Department of Justice. And I could go on and on. We're going to talk about a Department of Justice disgusting act here in just a few minutes. He also said this. This is Evan McMullin again. He's responding to this tweet from President Trump. President Trump said, "Look how things have turned around on the criminal deep state. Yeah, but not enough yet, sir. You need to really go after them. I know you might be giving them rope, but you got to be careful how much rope you give them because then they can use it on you. Okay, you got to be careful there." Like I'm telling. I mean, this guy's brilliant, right? And I realize that. No, he's not. I don't believe he's involved in 4D chess here. Donald Trump's smart, but he's a neophyte when it comes to politics. He still is, for a lot of reasons. But anyway, I think his intents are good, even though I call him into question and put his feet to the fire all the time. That's what we do as Americans. We don't trust our leaders. Okay, I'm beating a dead horse. Look how this is him again, Donald Trump. "Look how things have turned around in the criminal deep state. They go after phony collusion with Russia, a made-up scam, and end up getting caught in a major spy scandal, the likes of which this country may never have seen before." Something like that. I didn't read the last of it. But then here's this little tweep, Evan McMullin, and that's really what your CIA. If you go look at him, I think he's taken his profile picture down off of Twitter. But you can find him on the internet. You can Google him and you can see, because he was talking a lot during the election campaigns and all of that. Look at this guy. That's your typical CIA field operative. That's your typical little dude. Yeah, okay, they could probably do you some harm with some martial arts or whatever, or shoot you with a heart attack gun, whatever. But they're cowards. Okay, that's how cowards fight. And that's what they are. And that's what this guy is. He's a coward, and he's a little man. He's a little man. And I don't mean stature-wise. Because I've seen some really big men who are little in stature. All right? Let's read what his response is to President Trump. He has 4 responses. Number 1, and I read this yesterday. "There is no deep state, only laws and those who uphold them." Yeah? Yeah, right. 2, "You cooperated with Moscow's attack and the collusion accusations against you are credible." Boy, I mean, they're falling all over themselves. They don't know. They haven't got their story straight. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, but don't forget what they're doing here. They're seeing what sticks. They're throwing things on the wall still to see what sticks, and they're running scared. They really are. This guy needs to go to prison for sedition, and probably, depending upon his, and along with Mueller and Comey and all these people who really did collude with foreign agents, probably go to jail for, well, possibly treason. Number 3, the FBI uses informants, not spies, in all investigations. You can use all the semantics you want, McMullin, but I was in the field. I know what the difference is. And it's so close that really it's negligible under most circumstances. And then finally, his number 4, yes, we've never seen a spy scandal like this before, trying to pin that on Trump. See how they accuse you of things with no proof? That's what they do. And there are a lot of people on the internet, these trolls and these people who are attacking good patriots like Isaac Green and Unirock, who bled for us, by the way, on a battlefield in Iraq, it was Iraq, I think. And I'm going to tell you about another one here in a few minutes. His name is, he's a retired captain, or at least a former captain, I think was his rank. He may have been a major. Danny Jerzen. We're going to talk about him in a minute too. But anyway, you see what they do. They attack you, and they don't use evidence. It's innuendo. They try to use their positions of power, and they say it, and they say it, and they say it, and they say it until hopefully a number of people will believe what they say. Their lies are big. Okay, and then of course I'm going to end on John Brennan, which I talked about yesterday, and you know about him telling the president to shut his mouth. Can you imagine that? And these are people in the deep state, right? They think that they are the government. They say, and I said this yesterday, they think that they're the guardians of the democracy, but they mean their democracy because we're a constitutional republic. But they're the guardians of their democracy and their institutions, which they say are the American institutions, and they forget about everything else. Okay? They're very selfish. They're very evil. So he even said, John Brennan said, to Trump, you're attacking our institutions. He meant the deep state's institutions, and by God, I hope he does. Better than he is now. Just decimate him, just like Kennedy wanted to do. Dangerous operation, though, no doubt. John Brennan, this is what he says. Mr. Trump, he doesn't call him Mr. President. This is a form of I mean, people have called presidents like Mr. Nixon, like that. But this guy's doing it as a form of disrespect, okay? Not Mr. President, not President Trump, but Mr. Trump. Because he doesn't think he's the legitimate president because the deep state didn't okay it, okay? Mr. Trump, your hypocrisy. Man, as the kettle calling the pot black. Your hypocrisy knows no bounds. Jim Clapper is a man of integrity, honesty, ethics, and morality. See how they lie? That's so obvious now about Clapper, it's not even funny. And Clapper and Brennan are probably at each other's throats at this point, I would think. You are not. Jim Clapper served his country for over a half a century, including in Vietnam. You did not. Wait a minute. Why didn't you say that about Obama? I said this yesterday. Brennan, why didn't you bring up Obama didn't? Bush didn't. Clinton didn't. Oh my gosh. But you're pointing this finger at Trump that he didn't serve in Vietnam. Well, Vietnam was an unjust war that you helped, or your kind helped to foment on the world and on the American people and caused millions and millions of lives and injuries, including, 48,000 of our own? Not including those who died of their injuries later. You're the liar and you're the hypocrite and you are the criminal. By your words and behavior, you diminish the office of the presidency. He is a skunk and he needs to be gotten rid of. He needs to be arrested. He needs to be tried and he needs to have two things happen. One of two things, either sent to prison and or executed by hanging. And don't let him drop. Just let him hang there. Just kick the stool out from underneath him. Because he's a lying SOB. That's what I mean. That's why on my channel, I've talked about the corruption of the deep state for a long time. But you know that I put that motto on my channel. You see it all the time. The intelligence community is our most dangerous domestic enemy. And have I not been proven correct on that? Absolutely. And they will destroy everything unless we take them out. And Trump needs to take them out. Okay. I said a lot more yesterday, but I think that pretty well sums it all up, and we won't waste a lot of time. If, however, like I said, somebody does have that recorded, I will upload it, okay? And I know it'll be repeating a lot of things, but regardless. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about the spying, the helping part. They're all saying, we were not spying on Trump. We were trying to help him because of the Russians trying to infiltrate or cause problems in his campaign in the election. But notice they didn't do that with Hillary. And they certainly didn't look at the DNC server. They had CrowdStrike do that, right? So how honest are these people? What are they really doing? They're trying to deflect their guilt. We weren't spying, we were helping. Yeah, right. Like they were helping at Bundy Ranch, and I'm going to tell you about that. If they were really helping at Bundy Ranch, they would have arrested the BLM, the sheriff, and gone after Reed and some other people. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. I want to talk about veteran of the Army. I think he was a captain in the Army. He served in Afghanistan, I believe. Danny Jerzen. You can find him on Twitter. And his handle there is @skepticalvet. @skepticalvet. Or you can go on the web and find his website at fortressonahill.com. fortressonahill.com. Now, this guy is the real deal, as far as I can tell. No, I haven't gone and done a FOIA request to determine if he's for real or if he's stolen valor. I don't believe he is. You can kind of tell. Military people, when they look at each other, they can kind of tell, okay? It was like with Craig Sawyer when they started to accuse him or Ben Smith or any number of others. And that's what the deep state will do. There's CIA plants out there with these supposed stolen valor organizations, which are really there and operated by the CIA to put down true vets and denigrate their service in one way or another. And I could go into how that all works. But at any rate, he's probably being attacked relentlessly now by these organizations that receive help from the CIA and from other intelligence parts of the intelligence community to attack them because of what he's saying. And basically, what he's talking about is he's a total supporter of having strong military, but he's very much against the way that our military has been used, and he talks about it a lot on Twitter and on his website. So I'd like you to go see that. Vets that stand up and talk about the abuses of our military, which should be the most honorable force for good in the world, but it isn't. It causes more evil, or it helps to cause more evil. It supports the evil of the banking system, the Rothschilds, and I could go on. Most of you already know what I'm talking about. We've been subverted. As a matter of fact, I saw another, and this doesn't sound really connected, but it is. Vicki Davis put out another report. I had her on the show back about a month ago. I tweet out her articles from time to time. She talks about how we've been subverted with treaties. See, in the Constitution it says that the treaties that are ratified by the Senate are the supreme law of the land as well. But they still can't subvert the Constitution. That's the part that everybody forgets. And she goes into how this whole transportation thing with Mitch McConnell's wife running the transportation department now, and some other things, how this Port Authority that's showing up in our communities is really a way for the New World Order to take more control of our lives. And it's really a hideous thing, and she goes into that. I might tweet that out again a little later today, but look up Vicki Davis and her on the web and look at her most recent article. How does that tie in with Danny? Because that's what they do. Most of the wars, if not all of them, that we're engaged in aren't about going after ISIS. That's just the cover story. It's to take control of resources. It's to take control of the poppy fields in Afghanistan. We've been there 17 years, and our opioid epidemic is worse than it's ever been. This is all by design. President Trump started down the right road, I think, when he was bombing the CIA labs in Afghanistan, but now he's going along with the military-industrial complex with all these other things that are going on in Africa and Syria, trying to envelop Iran. Netanyahu came out a couple days ago. I tweeted this out as well, where he was saying the Iranian people are great. They're smart. They're great people. It's the people that lead them are bad. Yeah, that's true, and that's the case in Israel too, Netanyahu, and it's the case in almost every other country. You're part of the problem. But at least he said it. Now, I know this was a propaganda thing. This is a good guy, bad guy little play that they're doing there. But regardless, I will give Netanyahu a thank you for saying what I've said for a long time when I've talked about Iran. The Iranian people are wonderful people. I know some personally. They came here after the Shah got kicked out, but they're great people. And when they see what's happening there with the mullahs, and they don't like it. So the fact of the matter is, we might need the people of Iran might need a regime change. And for our interest might be to do that. But to bomb Iran, remember McCain and his stupid little jingle, bomb, 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 Iran. Remember that? That guy has no regard for human life. None. He's an ass. He's been my nemesis for a long time. Looks like I'm going to have a new one here pretty soon, though. Looks like he's going to check out. Okay. So go check out Danny Jerzen. I want you to do that. It just shows you that there are other vets out there that are calling this out for what it is. And yeah, he's probably bringing a lot of difficulty upon himself and his family. And that's not an easy thing to do. And I don't know how long you'll keep it up. How long can you beat your head against the wall before the American people are never going to wake up and you're just going to bloody yourself? So, but he's trying to do the right thing. God bless him. Okay, and just a quick mention on this Las Vegas shooting, that this massacre back at the Highway 91 Harvest Festival, Mandalay Bay, and all of that. There is so much disinformation being put out by the officials, and I use that word very loosely. There's still an obvious cover-up. Obviously, President Trump doesn't want to tell us the truth, which is very disturbing to me. It's one of the things I don't understand. That and some other things, but I'm going to concentrate on this. Who's revealing the information? Who's getting the information out? I want to give a heads up to these folks. Laura Loomer, Jake Morphonios, Shepard Ambulis. They're the guys that are still in the fray on this thing. And how is it that investigative reporters like that can find the truth, but our government covers up the truth? National security, remember what that's a key word for: corruption, criminal behavior. Yeah, they're probably worried about the American people getting upset with our alliance with Saudi Arabia if they let all of that come out, and with Israel, okay, and other things. They probably are concerned about that, right? And they're also concerned about, oh shoot, the people will know that we really aren't protecting them. We're kind of behind some of this, okay? Like I've said many times, embarrass the damn government. Embarrass them. The government needs to be embarrassed, and especially by President Trump. Just like he's embarrassed the MSM, just like he's embarrassed the intelligence community, embarrass these bad actors in our government and hang them. Hang them. Yeah, I'm on one this morning. I guess, well, I need to be. I really need to be. So let's move on to another thing here that I want to bring up, and it's the crux of the title for this video today. I found out, I should have known about this, but I didn't. I knew of it, but I didn't realize how bad it was until last night. You remember the Bundy Ranch situation, okay? I was there. That's part of the intro that Pam Jones has done for me. We saw that the federal government was going to do another Waco. Military guys could see that that's what they were setting up. We could see it. Use UN Agenda 21, use EPA regulations, use the influence and the cover given to them both ways, Hillary and Harry Reid and their ilk, protecting the corrupt agencies that are stealing the land from the people so that they can give the resources back to Hillary. The Uranium One, the solar fields, all this stuff, the minerals, all of that entailed, under the pretense of saving turtles or some other BS, right? Okay, well, if you remember, and I want to be careful how I say this, the Department of Justice and the FBI, the ATF, the Bureau of Land Management, and probably several other organizations, including the LVMPD, committed crimes. I'm going to just say it the way it is. Committed crimes not only not just the standoff at Bundy Ranch at I-15 and the corrals, but during that whole episode, then tried to cover it up. If you or I did that, we'd be guilty of conspiracy, accessory, whatever, for all of the crimes that were committed. All right? They want to expose all the corruption in government wants to expose everything wrong that you do so they can take advantage of you. Heap charges on you, so, like what they're doing to however you feel about Manafort and Stone and these guys. The real idea is to bankrupt them and make them so they can't fight. That's the disgusting power of government that needs to be curtailed, especially when they do corrupt things and perform misconduct, and then get off because of some stupid congressional, act or whatever that makes them immune. No, that needs to change. But I'm getting off topic here. What I want to get at is that during the trial, Judge Navarro's court, along with the DOJ, the U.S. Attorney, and Jeff Sessions' little boy, Stephen Myrie. If anybody thinks Jeff Sessions is a good guy, just look what he did here. He should have fired Myrie when he found this stuff out, but he didn't. He said he was doing a good job. They knew the crimes that the BLM had committed, all right? And what they did was they when the defense attorneys asked for the information, they said it didn't exist or wouldn't give it to them. And Judge Navarro allowed it to happen. But what occurred was that there was a BLM agent whistleblower by the name of Larry Wooten who wrote a memo. And it went public. If you remember, it was read over the internet, one of the people that read it was this representative, and I forget his last name, from Washington State, and there were others. And finally, it got into the record, and Navarro was caught literally with her pants down. Yes, I'm disrespecting her because she allowed this, knowing what was going on. She was trying to cover it up with the government. So this came out, Larry Wooten's memo detailing some of the corruption, some of the basically criminal acts that the FBI, the BLM, and the DOJ had committed, especially in hiding information from the defense. Okay? Exculpatory evidence, as they call it. But that wasn't it. It was also the reason why, when people saw the violence that was being committed upon the Bundy demonstrators, the Bundy family first and then the Bundy demonstrators, more people started coming. They could see the criminal acts of these so-called law enforcement agents that really disrespected their badge and their oath of office from top to bottom. I don't care if they were even the little guys just obeying orders. I saw one BLM agent while I was there who did refuse to do what he's being told to endanger the lives of the protesters. He threw up his hands and he walked away. I suspect, he said, I didn't join this organization to do this to the American people. And he walked off. I don't know what happened to him, but God bless him. Most of the others didn't, of course. Most of the others continued their cowardly behavior because they thought they were on the winning side. All right? That's why they acted the way they did. But at any rate, so Larry Wooten detailed some of these things. It got out, and when it was brought into court by the defense attorneys, the court tried to keep it sealed, okay? They tried to keep it sealed, but they couldn't. They were able to get it out, and everybody found out some of the details of what had happened, but it was enough that the judge had to dismiss the case so that the government could not bring it back again, okay? Because it was that bad. Well, we knew about a second memo from Larry Wooten. It's sealed still. See what we go here? Remember my testimony against the Brigadier General where they told me that I shouldn't embarrass the government? To hell with that. Embarrass the government. Same thing here. They're keeping this sealed because they don't want to embarrass the government. The government can't be seen as doing wrong things, especially when the lives of people are on the line. Remember Waco? They used military munitions against women and children. I don't care how you think about David Koresh. Okay? Yeah, right. Janet Reno. We went in there and did what we did to save the children because of child abuse. Oh, BS. You know, lies, lies, more lies. General Wesley Clark was the guy from Fort Hood that supplied the military vehicles that you saw there. And then there was the FBI hostage rescue team, and probably, I can't prove this, but I have seen the FLIR footage, and there's some tactical stuff going on where they're shooting unarmed people. The FBI and this deployed team that could very well be Delta Force at that point, or some part of it, using military munitions against the American people. Well, we saw that beginning to develop at Bundy Ranch. Okay, and I could go into a lot of details, but Larry Wooten, I think his second memo details more of this abuse and more of this plan, foreign in behalf of, he may not mention it, but it's foreign in behalf of Hillary Clinton, Obama, Eric Holder, Reed, and I'm going to say it, even the Mormon Church. And most of you will say, well, whoa, what? Yeah. You'd be surprised. There's a reason why Lavoy Finicum was killed. And it had to do with blood atonement. And I guarantee you that's what it was. Okay? Not just because he was a witness and very articulate. Yeah, I'm making some pretty damning accusations here, but the evidence is right in front of you. All you got to do is look at it. If you understand the inner workings of these organizations, which I do. I've been at it for 30 years now. Actually, it's longer than that, but okay. So what's going on here? Well, Larry Wooten's second memo, which is devastating according to what I've heard. I guess some people have seen it, but they can't talk about it. I can't give you the particulars. I just know it exists. It's been sealed by the court to protect the government. President Trump, I sent him a tweet about this either this morning or last night. Okay, I included my intro, as a matter of fact, my short one, I think. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was primarily to get his attention. Not that it will, but we all need to ask for it. If he wants to get the deal, remember, I said 2 years ago, that the hinge pin on Trump defeating Hillary and the deep state, at least in this particular battle, the Achilles heel is what happened in Uranium 1. Look at Mueller taking the uranium to Putin. We already have that, right? We know of the transfer of dollars to Clinton, the Clinton Foundation. We know all that. It's the hinge pin. It can take down that portion of the deep state, and it assuredly shows the corruption of the DOJ outside of the presidential campaign, which they're saying now is, oh, we did it to protect Trump or whatever the excuses are. It's gone from a counterintelligence investigation. They're trying to make it into something else, and then they're trying to make it into this, all based on a spurious dossier, and take our attention off of all these other things that I have talked about. But the bottom line here is President Trump, go after the DOJ and the court system and the FBI and the BLM, but particularly your DOJ on sealing this obvious evidence of wrongdoing by your U.S. attorneys and your FBI in a case unrelated to your campaign. What are you waiting for, President Trump? It's like they're giving it to you on a platter. And yes, you can do it. Don't let Jeff Sessions or anybody like Rosenstein tell you can't. You can unseal that today. You can. Yeah, it's going to embarrass the government. You might not want to do it because you're afraid that, law enforcement officers will now be in danger on the street. I'll tell you what, the American people are getting sick and tired of all of this protection to bad cops. All right, I want protection for good cops. I understand that. But we can't protect the bad cops, and that includes federal cops, the FBI, with these immunity deals. It's fomenting more and more corruption. Civil asset forfeiture. What the hell? So, President Trump, you want to get the DOJ? I told you. Bundy Ranch and Uranium 1 and all that is the linchpin for you to take down a good portion of the deep state. It's sitting there waiting for you to put your hand in the cookie jar and start eating these cookies. It's right there waiting for you. And it just shows, to hide exculpatory evidence from the defense. We could go into the history of what's happened to our judicial system and our government in general, but that's a big deal. We'll just stay on the specifics for now. Okay. I've ranted and raved now for almost 45 minutes. But like I said, I wanted to kind of do this today and make up for my, it's an Army term, military term, snafu yesterday. Boy, that just fit to a T yesterday. Not FUBAR, but that was definitely a snafu. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Yeah, tinfoil. Trump is busy pardoning Martha Stewart. Who else did you say there? I saw the Martha Stewart thing. Yeah, you're probably going to say Dinesh D'Souza. Yeah, the Illinois governor, Rod Blagojevich. And yet people who were there at Bundy Ranch, for instance, to try to protect good Americans from a destructive military force, they brought, just like the military munitions at Waco, they had military munitions at Bundy Ranch. Apache helicopters, you can't believe the crap they had there. Yeah. So Trump's, I got to agree on Martha Stewart. I'm sorry, she was railroaded, but she's still a high-profile figure. What about all the people that are languishing in your prisons, President Trump, because they stood up to the government and the deep state that you're supposedly standing up against? I'm not accusing him, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to get his attention. Okay? This is a blanket problem throughout the government. The entire war on drugs is a problem, and they're going to use the pedophile thing. Notice they're going to put pedophile information on our computers, right? Yeah, but they're not going to go after the pedophiles in the government. You just watch. They're gonna frame little people, and they'll go there, and Trump won't pardon any of them, right? He's going to just do the high profile case. Now, Martha Stewart didn't deserve what happened to her. Dinesh D'Souza didn't deserve what happened to him. The ex-governor of Illinois or whatever, I don't know about him. That's pretty bad there. But okay, if you're going to pardon people like Rod Blagojevich, or however you say his name, for God's sake, open the prisons and get these poor innocent people out there. Forget about the prison security industrial complex. They invested their money, they took a risk, but then they start using it and going to the states and the cities and trying to increase the arrest, make more laws, make good Americans criminals, so they can fill their prisons, so that Jeff Sessions can make more money, and President Trump, you can up what? This is going to be an interesting balance. You're going to up the stock market by supporting the prison complex. No, you need to strike that. You need to free. One of the keys of a godly man is that he frees those who are falsely imprisoned. You're going to do it to the rich, you need to do it to the poor. You need to do it to the people who really stood up against this Leviathan, disgusting criminal government that feeds on its own people. Not any different than the corrupt nobles and royalty of the feudal times. No different. Even worse because they say you're free when you're not. Boy, you got me going on that, didn't you? Yeah, Lavoie needs his killers brought to justice. That's what I'm saying. Who said that? Mark Okel. I hope I said your name right. Yes, I agree. 100%. But see, yeah, they went after. What did they go after those FBI agents who shot at and then shot? They did hit Ryan Bundy as well. Not fatally. He got a flesh wound, which was a miracle that those women and Ryan weren't killed in the truck because of all the rounds being fired. But what did they go after him for? Lying to the Oregon State Police that we didn't shoot our guns. Oh, we did, but then we went and got the brass, and nobody looked at our weapons to see if they were fired. We cleaned them up or whatever they did. Corruption and criminal conduct, and it's never brought forward because we don't want to embarrass the government. We don't want to endanger the lives of our. What does the national security state say? What does it say? Sources and methods and agents in the field. We don't want to endanger them. They're criminals. Yeah, the people that shot Lavoie, he was not armed. That pistol was a stolen weapon that they threw down as a throwaway. He was reaching at his side, not because he was looking for a gun, because they shot him there. And anybody who's seen that kind of stuff knows exactly what was going on. But that's what they were going to do at Bundy Ranch. Okay. Yeah, I agree, Sally Ann Deegan. All PSYOP, massive lies. Media won't give info out to the public. DC is nothing but a farce. I can't disagree with you. It's very tragic. Here we all are out here. We're trying to save the constitutional republic. But as I've said a lot already, I don't know if it can be saved. The people have, not just the head is corrupt and rotting, but the rest of the body is in really bad shape. And I won't go there. But I do not have an optimistic feeling about the American people and what they're able to do. Look in Italy. Or in Spain with the Catalonia, those types of things. The people are out in the streets for the right reasons, and the government still acts against them, and the people still, stand up. Where are the Americans doing that? The closest we had was at Bundy Ranch. That's the closest thing that I know of. Oh yeah, we've had the Million Man March and that kind of. But I'm talking about real constitution, standing really for constitutional principles and good government. And bringing out the corruption of government. We haven't seen much of that. We really haven't. Yeah, they were going to murder them all at Malheur. That's right. Arons, permaculture, sustainable farming. And they were also going to do that at Bundy Ranch. They were going to make that another 9/11 Waco deal. That was the end game there. And I'm not going to go into the reason why I didn't, but most of you should be able to figure that out. Potter, Trump only cares about going after the deep state to save America. He does love America, but Trump is one of them and doesn't give a shit what the deep state does outside the U.S., the sapper. Wow. Well, let me say this, okay? I think from the beginning I've said that I didn't want Trump to be involved in all of this overseas international diplomacy, regime change, all that, because his campaign was on America first. So I agree with you, Sapper. He should be paying attention. Now, he should be paying attention to what America needs to get fixed. Go after the deep state here, shut them down, whatever. I understand what you're saying. I agree with that. I don't want to take away from what he's doing in North Korea, because he's really attacking the CIA and the deep state and the New World Order by doing that. And of course, China is their little pride and joy, the New World Order's pride and joy. I can't disagree with that. However, almost everything that's being done in the rest of the world, primarily in South America, in Africa, and in the Middle East, I think we're sticking our nose in places for the wrong reasons still. So I agree with you there. And he ran on basically getting out of foreign entanglements, not doing foreign wars and regime change, and taking care of America first. And I'm going to say it for all of you out there. And if you watch my introduction, you'll see me in what's called a talit and a the yarmulke or a kippah. No, I'm not Jewish. Okay, I believe in the Israel law, the law of Israel, the same thing that Jesus did, what James the brother of Jesus, did. Okay, that's what you're seeing in those pictures there. I consider myself a Jamesian Christian. I'm not Jewish. Okay, all right. Now, based on that, I can still say this. I'm tired of the dual, and I've said it before, I'm tired of the dual citizenship, that people in our country that can run for government office, take bureaucratic offices, appointments, etc., can have dual citizenship. That is wrong. It should be illegal. I don't care what AIPAC says or any other, organization. If you have dual citizenship, you should be ineligible. No, you must be ineligible for public office of any kind in this country. Of any kind. So, it should be America first. Not Israel first. No. And I've talked enough about the history of Israel. Jake Morphonios has done a good job on that. I'm not saying Israel doesn't have a right to exist. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they've used the name Israel to pull the wool over Christian eyes, to deceive them. Okay? It should be America first, President Trump. Yes, no matter what. Now, as I've said, he has to deal with the political realities that he's confronted with. I agree with that. Okay? So I'm not going to hold him entirely responsible for trying to deal with it, but don't do it don't do anything. Don't do anything to push ahead the Israeli agenda. Don't do that. That's not America first. All right. Ollie North. Oh, Sally Taylor. Why did you have to remind me of that? I was probably one of the few military officers that couldn't stand Oliver North. And I've talked about this before. Oh, I violated the Constitution to protect the Constitution. Wrong. No, you show what you really are there. No, the fact that he has been placed as the president of the NRA, I don't care what. I love Dana Loesch, but man, I'll tell you what, Oliver North, that to me, that's a slap in the face to Americans to put Oliver North in there. They pretty much whitewashed his background, but he is not a hero. He is not America first himself. Yeah, well, anyway, I think everybody knows how I feel about that. No, Rooster Cogburn, I wish it was in the Constitution. What they've done is, and you've seen this all the time, okay? They think that by an act of Congress they can get by the Constitution. But in Marbury versus Madison, which is an 1809 case, I think, something like that. In Marbury versus Madison, the Supreme Court basically said that no act of Congress, no law instituted, nothing that violates the Constitution has any efficacy, force, or virtue, and is illegal on its inception. Look how many acts of Congress that we've had that subvert the Constitution, and nobody's going to stop it. It's a beast out of control. It's a stampede of wild beasts, and they don't care who they run over because they're the government. And they can violate their own law, but they can make you obey every little jot and tittle. Yeah, well, that's reversed, right? We're not their servants, right? They're our servants, and that's got to be turned around. And it's not an easy job. We have the best chance of doing that right now, but timidity and failure to seize the initiative is going to lose it for us. I'm not going to point any fingers. Hi, Roy. I didn't get the notification. No, YouTube is playing this game. I saw a lot of problems with YouTube and Twitter yesterday, for instance, and Periscope. The censorship is in high gear right now. It's in high gear. I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's like I said, Jeff Sessions should have been jumping on that, not the marijuana deal, right? And the spy ring in Congress, the Iwan brothers, and what Mueller is doing in the deep state and the intelligence community, and Rice and Obama and Hillary and all the Eric Holder all trying to unseat the president. Yeah, Jeff Sessions, you know, the people that have been trying to prop him up and to say that he's going to be a big savior, you know, it just makes me want to regurgitate. But you're right. Okay, you're absolutely right. Okay. Yeah, Jeff Sessions should be doing antitrust violations against these big social media platforms. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh yeah, the Army officer. Yeah, you know, yeah, that's in prison for supposedly shooting. They were being attacked by guys on motorcycles, I think. Well, that's just an example. You know, I think there's probably more to that than what we're led on to. But yeah, if President Trump is going to pardon people, that Army officer is certainly one of them. Yeah, from the information I have at this point. Yeah. Linda Demers, I got notification. Okay, good. Yeah, I suspect it's not all across the board. They don't want to make it too obvious. You know, it's sort of like, you know, boiling a frog. You know, if you put them in boiling water, they'll jump right out, but you raise the temperature slowly. So they're using that on the numbers game too. They don't want to throw all your numbers away. They've done that to a few people. But if they do it to too many too fast, then people are really going to see it. And the name of the game is, of course, you know, it's you proceed a little bit at a time, right? You turn up the water. You want to get it to boiling, but you turn it up slowly. You don't want them to notice it if you can avoid it. Kenneth Lockwood, the NRA is going to give the big... Yeah. Well, with Oliver North there, I think that Ted Nugent needs to take that by the reins and do something about it. But I'm afraid he's too flag waving. You know, I love Ted Nugent, but he waves the flag too much, especially when it comes to military, and he really needs to look out for Oliver North. But can we trust the NRA anymore? You know, back in the 70s, when I first really got into these things, I was in high school. I started to understand what was going on. I saw the NRA and their defense of the Second Amendment revolved around hunting and recreation. And I was writing letters. I was up in arms about that. I said, that's not what the Second Amendment's about. Why are you going down this path and locking yourself in on the Second Amendment is for sporting purposes? That's not what it's for. I was on that one back in the 70s as a high school student. Yes, I've always had a problem with the NRA. I always have. I'm not saying, you know, it could be a good organization, but it's got some problems. It really does, and that's definitely one of them. And now Oliver North is a big one. Dana Lay should have been the president of the NRA. I'd go for that. Put Dana Lay as the president of the NRA. Okay, let's see. You know, again, okay, CSI, Unirock has no opinion on Obama. Don't trust him. Instant ban if you bash Obama. I think he's doing that primarily to protect his channel. Okay, I hear Uni talk. I don't believe he's a leftist Democrat. No way in the world. I think he doesn't like talking about the pedophile problem. He doesn't like talking about human trafficking. He doesn't like talking about Obama. He doesn't like talking about that genre of information. He'll allude to it, but he doesn't want to go there because he's trying to protect his channel. He's got a lot invested there. Now, this guy's a vet. I'm going to go along with how he calls the judgment for his channel. Okay, he says more than enough other things to compensate for that. All right, you just got to listen to him. No, I think Uni's a decent guy. Like I've said before, he and Monograph and Titus Frost and others have been at each other's throats for a long time. I'm not sure any of it's justified. I think it's just high testosterone individuals who, they don't see things eye to eye, and then they use bad information to try to get a one-upmanship on the other, and they really have to stop that. They really do. Monty's on a Monty and I are friends. Okay, I got to tell you, I've never met the guy in person, but we communicate often. I find him extremely intelligent. He's very much for the Constitutional Republic of the United States. He's very creative. He's a musician. You've seen all the things he can do. He's the small potatoes Stanley Kubrick. Okay, and people want to find fault with him on that and use that against him. But the fact is, Monty's a very capable individual, and when people attack him based on lies and deceptions and easily refutable information, most of the people that accuse him are attacking him under names that aren't his name. They just assume it's him, right? And they base all this on some things that happened several years back. But my point on all this is that despite the fact I like Monty a lot, I do think he goes overboard at sometimes. He's trying to teach Titus Frost a lesson. Titus Frost accused him of doing something. I'm not going to rehash all that, but it was a false accusation based on other information that is extant on the internet, and it's all incorrect. And Titus probably thought he was doing the right thing. Titus, you need to start attacking the government. Leave patriots alone. Okay, leave them alone, especially when you look at what Monty's done on his channels. Look at his work product. Okay, I appreciate Titus, but he did attack Monty, and Monty's relentless. You attack him, he's going to go after you. Now, a lot of people got upset, and Titus did, of course. Monty did something. I wouldn't have done this. I'm not saying I would have done it, but Titus accused him of a very bad activity. And so Monty made he photoshopped an image with Titus Frost's dad at Comet Ping Pong. Now I'm laughing. It's a horrible thing. I understand why he did it, because he's saying, look, Titus, you accuse me of something that's false and you can't even prove it. Well, now I'm going to make you see how it feels. I'm going to put your dad at Comet Ping Pong, So it wasn't really accusing his dad of this. It was to show Titus that you don't do false accusations, how it can hurt people. But I think Monty went too far, in my own opinion, okay? And he continues with the memes going after Titus. Monty, I love you. I have a lot of respect for you, but it's probably time to back off, okay? Titus should have apologized, and I told Monty about this. Titus asked me to send a message to Monty, and I said, no, I'm not going to get in the middle of this. Tell him yourself. And I said some other things, but the point is that Titus, all he needs to do is apologize. It's a very simple thing to do, but guys at high testosterone levels, especially at his age, don't want to apologize. Apologize, Titus. You made a false accusation, and Monty's coming after you for it. All you got to do is say, Monty, you're right, I goofed, I'm sorry. And he'll back off. I guarantee it. Okay. Oh my gosh, we're in over an hour. Okay. I think we've done enough. Titus Frost came. Oh, okay. I will address this. Ken Webberg. Titus Frost came out against Tommy Robinson with no proof. This is what I mean. Too many people in the conservative community latch on to one thing or even a few things that people have done in their past that may not have been in their best interest or may even be on the questionable side. And then they want, it's like the false accusers, they're always after Christ, always accusing Jesus of something or his followers. They have one little thing and they keep hammering at it. Yeah, Titus needs to drop that. Tommy Robinson had some problems with, loan fraud a few years back or whatever. That has nothing whatsoever to do with his stand to protect young women and girls from being raped, assaulted, maimed, and killed. Okay, so back off, Titus. Back off. And Uni too. Uni, you need to. I know you don't want to jump in that thing on Tommy Robinson again, probably to protect your channel, but you got to look at the bigger picture and stop focusing in on little things that people have done wrong. Now, Uni did a really good job with that for me, right? I mean, with my background, I'm not going to get into that a whole lot here as far as my spiritual beliefs. But it got me into a little bit of trouble back in the 80s. And the whole idea of that was that the government has no business in the man-woman relationship, period, or any other contract, unless they're invited in. But it's kind of a forced thing now. And that all has to do with Roman law and the control of people. But I was actually trying to attack that. But regardless, Uni gave me a pass on it. So it shouldn't be too hard to give Tommy Robinson a pass on some of the improprieties he may have done. Look at his overall battle that he's involved in here. Look what he's suffering. Look what he stood up for. Innocent women and children being assaulted, raped, killed, injured. Yeah, Tommy Robinson needs our respect and our support. Again, Andy Wick, Uni waffles too much. He makes a good point about once an hour lately. Uni talks a lot, but so do I, right? Again, Uni has a big program there. He's a creator. So if you're going to listen to Uni, you got to understand he's creating a painting. Okay, he's creating a sculpture. He's creating an artistic thing. So sometimes he's going to go on some things that don't seem to matter, but it's his program. It's what he enjoys doing, and he'll tell you just like I do here. If you don't like what I do, I'm not chaining you to my table here to the camera. You can go away. You're not forced to be here. And I'm not accusing you of that. I'm just saying that's Uni's attitude. So, if you don't like what he does, don't go there. But I find him fascinating. Like Lionel, Lionel, he's kind of like me. I've often said I'm kind of in between Lionel and Alex Jones in the way I handle things. Sometimes I'm real mellow, and Pam Jones said that I report with dignity. Pam, have you seen me cuss? Have you seen me blow up? Have you seen me, especially like over the DEF CON 1 thing? Don't you remember that? I don't know if that's dignified or not, but it was nice of her to say. But at any rate, I'm kind of in between Lionel and Alex Jones. And Lionel, he goes on and on about some things too, but he's very intelligent like Uni. And so if you're listening, you're going to get some good tidbits of information. Yes, I did disagree with him on some things, especially, and I'll say it because I know everybody wants to hear it. I think Lionel's off in the weeds on the Q thing. And the proof of that's going to be cascading here real fast. But people still have a right. If you want to follow the Inquirer's turned out to be a pretty good news source as things go. But let's use the toilet paper of record as some people call it, the New York Times. I'll take the New York Times over anything the Q puts out. Period. So I'm a little strange. I'm a little puzzled by Lionel. By the way, I saw an accusation the other day that I was a moderator on the CBTS board. God, man, where do you people get these things? No, I never joined any of that. What I did have is I was invited on to the CBTS. First, I was invited on Baruch the Scribe's Discord, okay, so that I could discuss with him some things when I was doing the interview with him on this channel, okay, so that we could talk, because that was better for him than using, the phone or texts or whatever. In that, and I talked about a little bit the other day, in that exchange, which I do find a little odd, Baruch got me, Tracy Beans got a hold of me. and kind of invited me into their little circle, I guess is what it was. But I didn't take that bait. I wasn't interested in it. I kind of saw what it was what it was about even then. But I think not that she had nefarious reasons, but she just thought that since I was talking about all these things that I'd appreciate maybe some assistance, I guess is the way to put it. But I didn't take that bait. But she did say, hey, the board owners want to talk to you. And of course that was Baruch and Pamphlet, Anon. So after I got onto Baruch's Discord, then I was invited over onto the CPTS, not as a moderator, but on their Discord so that I could talk to them. Well, with my stand, obviously as the way it progressed, they have knocked me off the board and won't have any discussion with me, which is fine. But no, I was never a CPTS moderator. I was never involved in anything with Q other than reporting what I saw happening. If it was good, I said it was good. If it was bad, I called it out for what it was. And there were a lot of things happening that didn't make sense during the entire time, and I distrusted a lot of it. 3 weeks into it, right around Thanksgiving, I started saying something's wrong here. And everybody go back and look at what I did about this, okay? I was very upfront about it. It's like when I joined the Mormon church. Yeah, I accepted it at first, and then I kept digging. And then it's really interesting because when you keep asking questions and you put other people's faith on the line, not intentionally, but because you're questioning things, then they attack you as being an apostate. That's why I knew that Q was going to turn into a cult. I was absolutely correct on it. And I've had other experiences in life like that. But yeah, so that's exactly what happened. And so, by January, I was done. And I said so after the DEF CON thing, okay? So I just wanted to bring that up again. No, I was never on the CBTS mod. I was never a moderator. I was never, one of the researchers or anoners on the channel. No, I was totally independent. I was looking. I didn't even read. A lot of people would just read through, like Tracy or Jordan Sather or some of those. They would just read through the Q posts like that's decoding. Even Jerome Corsi did it. It isn't. But I didn't even do that. I usually picked out one or two things that I thought were relevant, and I went with that. DEF CON 1 is a good example. And I'll stick by that to the end because that was proof. I had a lot of circumstantial evidence prior to that, but that was proof we were dealing with people that didn't know what they were talking about. Absolutely. Trees climbing gear. Roy, you're in exceptional form today. That can be taken one of two ways. I'm not sure how to take that. On my OERs, and I'll end on this. On my OERs, I had more than one. OER is an officer evaluation report in the Army. And on more than one occasion, not my raider, but my senior raider would say something like, this officer can be depended upon to speak his mind. Now, a lot of you might think that's a good comment, but it depends on who's reading it. If you're a corrupt, top-down, I'm not saying that's the same thing. If you want yes men around you, and you read that from a senior raider of mine, you would not like me. Okay, if you really were somebody like Patton, say, who liked guys to stand up and tell him what they thought, like Trump does, then you might like that statement. But it all depends on who reads it. And so the same thing with that. Rare form today. Okay, that could be taken two ways. Okay, yeah, blind faith. We can get into all that detail. I really don't want to. This is all. What we have now is that the Q thing is being taken over by other people that are getting new audiences because of the way that this thing progresses. But at any rate, there's nothing I can do about that other than to tell you I don't care where you get your information. Okay, it's information, but like Ronald Reagan says, you can trust but verify. All right. I use the New York Times, but I don't believe everything it says. But what it doesn't say is as important as what it does say. And that's how you use information. I'm done. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I appreciate you. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Keep your situational awareness on high. Prep, pray, stay out of the way. Things could still get hot. It's better to be prepared a day, a year too early than a day too late or a minute too late. So there's nothing wrong with prepping and being ready for the whatever eventuality. God bless you. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the Second American Revolution. And may God bless Donald Trump in all of his righteous righteous endeavors. And may the spirit of discernment distill upon him as the dews from heaven, that he will know the right from the wrong, and most importantly, have the courage to act upon it. That's my prayer every day. And hopefully Melania is okay. Some strange things going on there. I hope she's all right. Let's put out a shout out for her. Probably the most elegant, intelligent first lady. No, she is. She is the most elegant and intelligent first lady this nation has ever had, bar none. Okay, thanks everybody for coming. We'll talk to you next time. I hope you like my new format. Hopefully I don't screw it up and delete this program. I'll do my best not to, okay? Hopefully there's somebody out there recording these things. Like I said, I do the streaming and the recording at the same time, but my equipment just won't, especially my internet connection, just won't handle it. All right, everybody. Thanks again. I'm going to end the broadcast with Pam Jones has the long version that I've used for the intro to my channel now, so you can go see that. I'm not going to play that one, but I really like the music. I'm not sure where she got that. It does cause me. It is copyrighted material, so when you see advertisements on my channels for copyrighted material, it's not I'm not getting the money for that. It's the creators, the artists, or whatever. Most of the time I do my own music, as most of you know, almost always. But on when other people give me things, they're using music that they've obtained from other places. Sometimes it's copyrighted, sometimes it isn't. But it's not the copyright. The advertisements aren't for me. Okay, it's for the artist. Just so you know. But I did the intro short this morning. I'm going to do the longer one without Pam talking, okay? Because I think it'll be nice. And then we'll end on that, and I'll see you later. Thanks, guys.